Welcome back to the Nitty Gritty. We're your hosts. My name is Allicea.
And I'm Ash. And we're doing another one of those, I want to call them games, but I guess it's not really a
silly
game.
segment.
Oh my gosh. Silly segment is kind of a good idea. We're still trying to come up with a name for it, so we'd really appreciate your guys' help.
Please.
But we're basically not doing an F1 podcast episode today.
No.
Today we're going to be doing some silly stuff.
Some silly F1 stuff.
What are we doing today, Allicea?
Today, I'm so excited. Today, we will still be, reading and talking about some F1 related things. But today, we will be reading some peak literature. We will be going into the classics. We will be reading some F1 fanfiction today.
Jane Austen is actually shaking in her boots.
Quaking, shaking, shivering in her timbers.
Just for privacy reasons, we're not gonna name the stories or the authors because we want to respect their privacy.
Yeah. But we're just here to have a good time, do a little bit of reading. I'm in the beaches because my room is dirty and I don't want you to see that.
Nice beach read. Nice little beach read.
Yeah, a little beach read, whenever the girlies are there reading hardcore smut on the beach. Is that all we ask?
Also, yeah, I guess maybe content warning. I don't know if these books have smut in them.
So we're reading them for the first time on camera.
Exactly.
So if there's trigger warning, sex.
Maybe mature content.
Yeah, mature content. If you're not over the age of 18, maybe don't watch this. If you are, maybe pull up a parent, but I don't really recommend watching this with parents.
I mean, I was never 18 when I read any of this stuff when I was younger, but I am not going to condone that. So if you are under 18, don't do that.
I'm severely ill because I read these things when I was younger, so don't do it.
Okay. I did some scouring of the internet. And I found some niche fanfics. What do you want to start with? Who do we want to start with? Who's a good,
I mean, I feel like a good easy base would be Charles.
YN sat in her seat, unsure why she was even separated from her sister, but she just accepted it. YN watched as more seats were being filled by people. A few minutes before the match started, YN took her phone out and started texting her sister. She continued to do that until a guy sat beside her. Bonjour, mademoiselle, he greeted. YN just smiled at him. Hi, she regretted not taking French in school. She didn't mean to stare at him, but he had such a familiar face. A second later, she had realized that none other than Charles Leclerc was sitting right next to her. Soon, the match started, and YN tried her best to keep up with it. She never quite understood the basics of tennis, but she watched the ball bounce from one opponent to the other. From the corner of his eye, Charles watched as she made a confused face. Her eyes followed the ball. She sometimes gasped when one of the players almost hit the ground from running. Who's your pick? Charles leaned towards her. Is it dumb if I say whoever wins? YN said to him. Smart decision, girl, me too. I don't think it's dumb. That's what I said when I saw my first tennis match, Charles replied. Did you know that in tennis, love means 0? He said, almost whispering it in her ear. As the match went on, Charles kept telling her...
That's why on the scale of 1 to 10, I think you're a 0.
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
Let me adjust my camera. There we go. Please continue.
As the match went on, Charles kept telling her what was going on. She nodded, keeping track of every rule Charles was telling her. Halfway through the match, YN sort of knew what was happening. From a distance, Pierre Gasly watched his friend talk to this woman beside him. This guy, he chuckled as Charles pointed to the tennis court. He then realized Charles was explaining the game to her.
Why can I hear Pierre being like, this guy, in his little accent, and be like, look at this guy over here. Oh my God.
Is this his way of flirting? Pierre thought. He then watched Charles pull his phone out and hand it to her. Pierre's girlfriend, Kika, sat beside him watching as well.
Queen!
Are they exchanging phone numbers? Kika whispered to Pierre. Holy shit, Charles actually knows how to talk to women.
Pierre is so iconic for that. Why is this very canonically Pierre in my mind?
Honestly, If we were gonna rate this, I think I'd give it out of 10. I'd give it like, I don't know, 6.
A 0 for love.
A 0 for love.
For
Okay.
love.
Do you want to read the Max one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I clicked on the GIF by accident.
Yeah.
Why is he kind of cute in that GIF? Max. Let's see. Warnings, fluff, swearing, and shy Max. Synopsis. Max was never short of confident. He had trust in his abilities and in the car. He knew he would win, and he did win. The only thing he was never truly confident in was getting you.
Oh my gosh, Max.
Okay. Where is it? I'm so confused. Keep reading. There it is. Okay. Ready? Okay. No one was oblivious in the paddock. Is that what that says? Yeah, no one was oblivious in the paddock to the look shared between you and Max. The subconscious want to be near each other. Is that even English? The way you both
the subconscious want to be near each other.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
The way you both spoke about each other with a false grimace on your faces. No one except you and Max yourselves. Joining Rebel as their team photographer had been a dream come true. You got to work in the sport you loved since you were just a young girl, able to meet amazing people and travel with them for months out of the year. You could say that you get along with everyone in the paddock, everyone but your team's very own first driver. I wonder why. The only logical reason in your head is that Max Verstappen must hate you. Probably. Every time you try to start a conversation, whether they were work-related or not, his replies were short with you, almost as if he was waiting for the moment to escape your presence. I like where this is going. It only took a few weeks for you to stop trying. Your conversations, no matter the length, never stayed past the topic of work. Whether you needed him to change positions, there was no banter like your friendship with Sergio. I feel like I only say Checo. When I see Sergio, I'm like, who the hell is that? Who's Sergio? Despite your brash behavior towards each other, Daniel was convinced it would be solved if you got together.
Daniel's so real.
He's like, y'all just need to fucking be fine.
He's like enemies to lovers.
I love how it's always Daniel that's like in these. Okay. The Aussie deeming himself as some type of matchmaker between the two Red Bull workers.
Your alarm sounded off, giving you a 5-minute reminder of the first shoot of the season. Surprisingly, you weren't the first person there, with the #1 branded cap being the first thing you see, talking with his personal trainer. Despite repeating again and again that it doesn't matter if he doesn't like you, that you could without his approval in your life, that you should stop trying and seeking him out, you can't help but approach him anyways. You plastered a half-genuine smile on your face as you walked over to him. Had a busy holiday? You smiled up at Max, the Dutchman jumping slightly, not realizing you to be right beside him, especially after Brad had just left. Max gave you a tight-lipped smile, not offering you much more as he nodded he lightly nodded his head. Let's say that. Yeah, you nodded at his question. The one you knew he was only asking to at least appear polite. You weren't able to tell if the cringe you felt internally from the awkward silence that fell had crept its way onto your face. Instead of the slightly faltered smile, you look up at him. Good to hear that the car is going smoothly then. Hope testing goes well. She's kind of real.
She's like, hope everything goes well. XOXO.
Cursing under your breath, you walked away to set up your camera, feeling a little bit uncomfortable as you could feel his eyes on you as he walked away. Oh, you feel his eyes on you. Before he had met you, Max never considered himself a shy person. Instead, he was known as quite the opposite. His public persona showed him to be the most extreme extrovert you had ever seen, being able to make friends with a tree if it talked back. But the moment you stepped into the paddock, carrying the dainty old camera you took with every race to capture your own memories, that very bright smile on your face only someone with your level of kindness could bring. You're all his dreams come true. That's kind of sweet.
I don't like that. Oh my god, stop.
This is the kind of fan fiction people should be writing. What is this other stuff we were seeing?
Guys, I'd like to say Ash and I have been filming for about an hour and we've had to like cut out a lot because y'all are freaks.
Obviously that's like supposed to be the appeal of like us reacting to fan fiction, is that it's cringy, but this is like stuff that we actually probably can't even post on YouTube. You never let yourself be carried with anything but respect, having him following and anticipating your every move like a lost puppy. His eyes on you as you moved throughout the garage, struggling to contain his quickening heartbeat when you fixed a collar on his shirt. The only problem, however, your disdain for him was more than obvious to Max. You couldn't blame me for the way the past 2 years had gone. Pining after you for the past 2 years was something he and everyone around him could only call pathetic at this point. There was something about you, something that he couldn't quite put his finger on, that makes it nearly impossible for him to form more than his short, abrupt sentences, his one-word answers. When you're near him, the perfume you had worn since your first day overtaking his senses, Max shuts down, his heart beating so fast.
Overtaking his senses, like on the track.
F1 pun. Although the thing he doesn't know is that you too had a weakness for him. The way he let no one get to him, knowing his own value without determining it by the opinions of others. The way he was kind to the rest of the Red Bull workers. Sure, you were the exception, but even then you could see how he treated the mechanics and engineers. You were all sort of a messed up family together. Messed up family. The fact that despite your indifferences, he had still made sure a secret Santa gift was placed in your locker before the Christmas break. Daniel, of course, being the one to spill his secret to you, and that only made you want to wear the silver necklace he had gotten you 1 year around your neck more often. These are such wordy sentences I literally cannot.
I know.
Max noticed things about yourself that even you hadn't, like the way goosebumps rose on your arms while you prepped the camera, despite the warm wind from the Bahraini air. He had gotten Daniel to give you one of his logoless jackets. That's sweet. His friend not relenting from his snide remarks. Would be easier if you could just tell her how you feel, Max glared at his friend, passing the jacket from his driver's room to his hands. You never know, Maxie. She could like you back.
Maxie.
Max was quick to dismiss Daniel's last words. There was no way in hell you even held an ounce of the feelings he felt towards you. The Dutchman made a mental note to thank Daniel again when he got to the chute, seeing you now with his jacket sitting oversized on you, hanging from your shoulders in a way that still complimented you. Sergio was now in the makeshift makeup and hair station. You at some point employing Brad as a part-time hairdresser to fix the mess on Checo's head. You turned to look at him, finding his eyes on yours, silently understanding that you now wanted him in the chair. Brad, almost as professionally as a personal trainer, now working as a hairdresser could do, fixed the blonde hair on Max's head. You brought the makeup brush up to his face, dipping your own head closer to him. Max could feel his heart racing against his chest, the familiar wave of nervousness he only felt around you washing over with how close you were to him at the moment. Max could feel his own cologne on the jacket you wore when you leaned in closer to him. You backed up with a smile, only half of Max relieved he could now be in a peace without the possibility of choking on his own breath. The other half wanting to have that close you that close to him again. There we go, looking perfect, you spoke to both the drivers. Max able to feel the tingle of his cheeks burning up, and you could only beg you didn't. Okay. Although you hadn't, his teammate had. Sergio was teasing him throughout the shoot when you were fidgeting the settings on your camera. By the end of the shoot, you were happy with the picture you had gotten, letting Sergio go first as you held Max back to take a couple of more with his championship-winning car. He runs his hands through the strands of his hair subconsciously, a nervous reaction as he did. A groan leaving your lips as you noticed he had messed up the previous perfect style Brad had given him. With a blink of an eye, you were standing just in front, tangling your own hands through his short blonde hair as you fixed the mix he had made. Max couldn't stop himself from staring at your face as you concentrated on perfecting his hair again, your tongue swiping across your bottom lips. Great, 2 more and we're good. Max nodded his head. Not entirely. What? Okay. Max nodded his head, not entirely hearing what you said.
Wait, I'm gonna close my eyes as you read this and envision. Okay.
Okay. Let me know what you see. Okay.
Okay.
Max nodded his head, not entirely hearing what you said, with his mind off somewhere else, but he figured it was better than shaking it no. You took the last of the pictures, uploading them onto your computer, and you were sure Max was desperate to get out of your presence as you tossed him a makeup wipe. Can I see them? You couldn't lie and say you were expecting Max saying he wanted to spend more time with you willingly, more so thinking he would get you to email them to Brad or Sergio to see them before they were sent off to media. Not being able to formulate a reply, you nodded your head, watching as Max made his way around the table that held your laptop and a couple of other things. His hands rested on the dark wood, his body so close to yours that you could almost feel his warm breath fanning over you. Okay, Allicea, what happened there? Can we put this in? Is this too good?
These are supposed to be reactions to bad fanfic, so I like this one. Like, this is going well. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, like, why is this good?
I'm actually a few fans right now ordering Max Verstappen merch. Like,
This fanfic turned Allicea into a Max Verstappen Red Bull fan.
Love me.
2
my
years we had
God.
been more than certain that Max held a weird dislike towards you, no matter how many times you've been nice, wishing him luck every weekend, but you were always met with a barely there smile or a one-liner. You're used to his almost immediate dismissal of you, but you're definitely not used to his sudden interest in you and your job. The opinion was on the tip of your, the question was on, not opinion, what? The question was on the tip of your tongue, burning to ask before finally you gave into your primal curiosity.
Primal.
Max, he hummed in response, still looking at the pictures, scrolling through them. Why don't you like me? So she's so real for asking.
Oh my God. What did she say? What did he say? Tell me what did he
The surprise in Max's face is evident, just as it is on yours as he turns to you. You think I don't like you? The way wait. Stuttering over my words. The way he asked as though the idea is ridiculous, that there was no possibility in it ever being you. You can't help but feel a little ridiculous yourself. You felt like a teenager again, asking an idiotic question in class that everyone knew the answer to but you. But you forced yourself to continue. Can you blame me? You never seemed interested any time I tried talking to you. He was hesitant to speak at first, but he knew there was no moment like now for him to speak up. I don't dislike you, YN. Oh, I forgot this is a YN fic. I forgot. He took in a sharp intake of breath, cheeks tingling a slight pink as he was embarrassed to admit the next part. You make me feel like a teenager with a crush again whenever I'm around you. You were taken back by his confession in the moment, expecting anything but the words he was saying. And instead of possibly fucking up and embarrassing myself, I just didn't talk to you. Max knew he had more to say, and with how far he had already came, he couldn't help but say fuck it. I was scared to make an idiot of myself. You get me so fucking nervous. You couldn't believe a word he was saying as he stared at him with your mouth slightly agape. You don't know what you're saying, Max. I can't make you nervous. More than nervous, I can't focus on anything I'm doing when you're around me. It's like I forget how to. But we work together, you say. You need the risk if anything were to happen between Max and you. You learned early that companies don't like essentially their highest position employee dating their easily replaceable photographer. You can understand it, of course. No one wants that added responsibility, especially in some cases it was an HR case waiting to happen. He wanted to hold your face closer to his, cupping your cheek with his hand, reassuring you that everything would be fine, but he kept his distance, knowing you needed to take in everything before his decision was made. We could make it work. Your breath hitched in your throat when Max smiled down at you, his eye contact so intense you were forced to break away. You don't have to say anything now, but come to me tomorrow and we can talk about it. The next day came quicker than you had anticipated. The only true drivers you knew who could truly confide in this specific situation now sat facing you in the comfort of one of their driver's rooms. Everyone already knew YN. You two aren't the most discreet. Lando spoke after you had filled him and Daniel in. After you had filled him and Daniel in on everything Max had said. You should have seen him when you went out on a date with Gio from the Ferrari garage. He looked like someone kicked his puppy. You didn't think anything of it when I told you he left you those Christmas presents? Daniel questioned you, looking at your hands, and instinctively found the silver chain around your neck. And who do you think got the flowers for your birthday? And Valentine's Day? The past 2 years, on your birthday and Valentine's Day, a bouquet of flowers was always delivered to you, never with a card or even a clue of who it might be from. You? Well, if you want to think that they were from me, you're welcome. You rolled your eyes at him, at his words, a smile threatening to show on his lips as he joked. The realization that it was Max was absolutely insanity to you. Daniel had took an instant liking to you in an older brother way and thought throughout your time in motorsport, you always been under the impression that the Dutchman disliked you. And now that you decided to tell me, your head is spinning and information overload into this. Girl, are you that dumb? Are you that dumb that you cannot take basic hints? Anyways.
She couldn't.
Lando shrugged his shoulders. No one thought it would take him over 2 years to own up to it. And for the most part, we genuinely thought he'd gotten over it. He's gotten a little bit more subtle when it comes to staring at you. God, I feel stupid. I didn't know about that. He was too dumb to realize he liked you back. If that makes you feel better. You smiled up at Daniel, a genuine smile slipping past your lips at his words. A knock on the door stopped your replying to him. The two drivers.
Max.
The two drivers' own personal trainers needing them before they officially starting the day one of testing. That was such a edge. Like they were like, "Oh, it's Max. It's not Max."
Where's Max?
Oh my gosh, this is great. You knew Max is Max is going to be in the car the majority of the day, leaving you with more than enough time for you to make up your mind before you could speak to him. The 4 hours flew in for you. flew by for you. Max going straight to his driver's room, joined by Brad when he found you already waiting in there for him. Brad was awkward towards you, offering a hello and goodbye within a matter of seconds. Have you thought, I want to be with you, Max? Your abrupt voice cut off his, just desperate to confess how you'd felt for him the past years of your life. You make my heart race more than anyone I've ever met. You make me nervous.
Heart
All of the
race!
above. Race.
The only race my heart has is the Grand Prix for you, or something like that. I don't know.
You make my heart race like the Grand Prix.
My heart races in the Max Verstappen Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
I tried.
You know what? I'm sure someone would get rizzed up by that.
Yeah. Which driver do you think I could rizz up with that?
Max. You move towards him, situating yourself between his legs as you cup his cheeks, making Max take a deep breath. Okay, can I read this?
Anyway.
At your sudden closeness, your heartbeat's racing in sync, feeling the distance between the two of you closing in. Max couldn't even voice his reply, instead bringing his lips onto yours, your first kiss together, one shared in the stuffy confinement of his driver's room. He let himself pull back, desperate to have his mouth on yours again. He's planted a smaller, quicker kiss onto your lips again. He smiled at you, a smile of his you had yet to see before, and not when he was talking with Daniel, certainly not when you remembered his one-word replies he used to give to you. No, you saw this smile for time when your foreheads are pressed against each other, a confession on both sides, and an unbreakable bond was formed. And that's on period. They ate that. I want to shout this author out. Super Signs on Tumblr. You kind of ate that.
You were the one fanfic we actually read through the entirety of our 1 hour and 20 minutes of filming. And we loved it. So good. I'm now Max Verstappen fan, thanks to you.
How do you think Max would react to reading this? I think it'd be a little weird still.
I think he'd still be uncomfortable. I'm thinking about the earlier ones that we read through before, and I think Max would actually have to sue. I think he'd stop and sue. I think it'd be funny if the segment was I feel okay, people would want to see group together reading fanfic. I want Danny, I want Lando, I want Alex. I feel like they'd be goofy as fuck reading fanfiction about even other drivers. I feel like they just laugh. Who else?
I feel like Alex and Daniel in one room together reading fanfiction would be amazing.
I just gonna be them cackling and screaming and
So it's gonna be Daniel LOLing.
LOLing. Yeah.
Who I think Fernando Alonso would be pretty funny reading fanfiction about a driver.
I feel like he'd be what is this? I'm what is happening? What is this generation up to? The Max one was longer than I expected.
Yeah, same. I thought it was gonna be shorter than that, so that's unfortunate. Okay, let's read this short, angsty one, but I'm confused about what's gonna be happening in this. I feel like they're just laying in bed. Okay, the prompt for this fic is, what am I to you truly? A puppet to be used to get what you want? And it's a Daniel Ricciardo fanfiction.
They shitting on Danny Rick? Is that what this is?
You good, Daniel?
You good? You good, Shotty?
It starts off with the words, you good? Daniel's raspy voice stirred you awake. The exhaustion of too many nights strung together and the red wine he'd graciously provided for dinner had caused your weary eyes to close just for one peaceful, silent moment. Yeah, I just needed a minute. I just needed a minute.
Minute. You sound like a Muppet. No, just kidding. I can't talk either. It's okay.
Yeah, just needed a minute. It's so rowdy out there. The dip in the bed had your head tilting to the side, eyeing Daniel as he slumped down beside you, laying down back on the bed that didn't belong to either of you. In reality, In reality, you didn't know whose bed it was. Maybe Scotty's, maybe Sean's. Neither of you cared now that the dinner party had entered the wee hours of the morning. It's been the longest day in history, I reckon. Trust those two to have the most extravagant wedding rehearsal dinner known to man. Daniel sighed, hands linked behind his head, distressed curls falling in every which way. Okay, so they're what?
Danny curls.
Wait, they're at Chloe and Scotty's rehearsal dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not their wedding. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about a Stroll-funded wedding event, so I'm not surprised that they've gone all out.
Hold on, this is new fanfiction. This is fairly new.
Yeah, this is pretty fresh.
Oh my god. Okay.
Maybe they'll tell us where Lauren Stroll was.
I was gonna say, I'm like, maybe Lawrence makes an appearance.
Daniel scoffed, making you chuckle and catch his eyes, gleaming and bloodshot from jet lag. There was a beat before his question, a question that you didn't expect to get, and certainly one you didn't want to receive. You ever think about getting married? We just met. We just met, Daniel.
No, I thought he said he knew them for years.
No, I'm joking. I'm just saying this fanfic. I don't know what's going
Danny,
on.
Stop.
The scoff that bubble. Why did you say it like that?
What? Me?
Danny, stop.
Stop it, Danny. Stop. Guys, I just woke up. Okay.
Honestly, it's actually 10 in the morning for me. This is like so early to be reading fan fiction.
Oh yeah, because the time difference.
I'm
on the beach.
The scoff that bubbled in your throat surfaced, eyes now widened at the man looking back at you with intrigue. Was he seriously asking you that? You, the girl who couldn't hold down a relationship because she's too hung up on a man she can't have? Him. To who, you asked, voice higher in pitch than you would have liked. I don't exactly have a line of men queuing up around the corner. Why are you being like this?
I don't like that. Marianne, what the fuck? Why am I acting like this?
Girl, this isn't you.
This ain't me.
You cringed at the self-deprecation, wishing you'd gone with something less sad. She's self-aware. But the words spilled before you could catch them, painfully honest. And Daniel's quirked eyebrow didn't help you feel less desperate. Oh, I'm camping out to be at the front of that queue. Daniel! His tone was lighthearted, but you knew that he wasn't joking around. You found yourself here too many times on too many late nights, fantasizing about what could have been, maybe that what should have been with the two of you. The almost, the close calls, the declarations of love when it wasn't the right time, and the apologies the next day when you wake up filled with regret, wanting nothing more than to pretend it didn't happen, because your friendship means more to me than anything. This is kind of good.
I was enjoying myself. I'm on the edge of my seat. Please.
It was cynical. You promised me we wouldn't say things like that anymore, Dan. It was his chuckle that set you off, bringing in your... I'm sorry, the nickname Dan is fucking...
I fucking hate Dan. How come every fanfic refers to him as Dan? Who the fuck is Dan?
Why don't you just call him Danny? The Dan is really giving, like, I don't know. It was his chuckle that set you off, ringing in your ears like a taunt. It was as if the pain you felt every time he dangled himself in front of you, forbidden fruit, okay, meant nothing to him. Like, it didn't rip his heart out of his chest when it did. Having you as a friend killed him every time he heard your voice on the phone, every time he made you laugh. Deflecting was his true defense mechanism, because admitting how he felt would hurt more than just you and him. I'm deadly serious, you reiterated, staring into the windows of his soul. Or so it felt for him as you watched your pupils widen. Oh, why are your pupils widening? Allicea. I know.
Like
and Daniel.
My pupils widen.
Girl, I'm scared.
They're laying down on a bed right now, too, right? Keep reading. I'm listening.
I need to cover your face. And Daniel did know. He knew all too well that he remembers it all too well. He knew all too well the feeling. Stop looking at me like that. I actually can't. He knew all too well the feeling of watching you happily in love, even if it was fleeting. But now it was his turn. The action of finding someone new was never intended to be vengeful or mean-spirited. It was just the way it was. Timing never on your side. Wait, do you have a boyfriend? But sometimes I think about getting married.
And I'm lying in a bed with another man?
What are you doing? But sometimes I think about getting married, and when I do, I know you're the only person on earth. Why did I do that?
The Aussie accent. I know, Cleo. The condensation.
I know you're the only person on earth. That sounds Irish. That understands how I feel. What that could look like, and that might not be fair, but it's the truth. Daniel looked back at the crown molding ceiling, hands clasped over his stomach, rising and falling with deep breaths. His heart was pounding. Confessing his feelings was never easy when it came to you, and that was part of the reason you were laying side by side as friends, nothing more. You're right, it's not fair, you stated, still staring at his sharp jawline, tensing at your words. I feel like I'm just a puppet to you, a puppet to be used to get what you want whenever it doesn't work out with your flavor of the month. And Daniel shot up, elbows buried in the mattress as he propped himself up beside you. As soon as you looked in those dark brown eyes, your heart shattered into a million pieces. The look of complete horror stared back at you as you stuttered throughout the sentence you wish you never even started, regret getting the better of you. Did you seriously insinuate I would treat you that way after everything we've been through? Daniel was stunned, gobsmacked by how differently you had perceived your relationship. Gobsmacked. Disposable. He never wanted to make you feel that way. Not ever. Oh my gosh, this confession is fucking crazy.
I'm like palpitating. Look how red I am. Like, I'm like freaking
this
out.
is like we're gonna put you on blast so hard when we post this video. You're like,
I'm like into this.
it's good. The title is gonna be reacting to F1 fanfiction. We enjoyed it too much.
Allicea down bad. Allicea ovulating question brackets.
Okay, that's actually valid. I fucking love you. I'm in love with you. And you know what? I know you do. And I know you feel the same, which is why sometimes I keep my distance, especially when you're with someone, because I know that what we have isn't normal. I know it isn't a normal friendship because the reason all of my flavors of the month leave is because of you, because I see the way I look at you. And apparently it's the same way you look at me. So I don't know what to tell you. You're not a puppet and you never have been. It's just when we do get the chance to be together in that way, I can't say no to you. You're you.
That was the most amazing dialogue. That was the most amazing.
I'm sorry, I kind of nailed that.
You know, because you kept going, and I was like, Ash, we should get together. You and me. Right now. I'm like, oh my god, Ash is saying these things to me. It's not even Jenny anymore. It's Ash. This is an Ash fanfic. Oh my god, write your nitty-gritty fanfic down below.
Oh my gosh, actually. Okay.
It's fanfic of the two of us.
Okay. Seek help. I'm joking.
No, guys, I do.
Daniel reached down and softly brushed the pad of his thumb across your reddened cheek, a single tear rolling down the flushed skin as he let his words wash over you. He was right about all of it. He always was. He was a rational one, level-headed and steadfast, but his words could only ease the pain so much. The room was quiet. Erratic breathing were the only sounds being caught in the thickened air. It felt like the wind had been knocked out of your lungs, confession somehow confusing the situation even more. Closure now being the only remedy for the heartache. If all that's true, then what do we do? Your voice was meek, barely a whisper as Daniel fell back onto the white linen duvet, hand searching for yours. You did what you always do and laced your fingers together, a comforting gesture to ease the sadness and gentle squeeze for good measure. I don't know. Daniel genuinely did not know what to do, and you could tell by the way his eyes darkened and the smile lines that were almost always visible were gone, that he was clueless as you, stuck, because timing was never on your side. Okay, one thing I don't get about this is like, you guys are both, you have a boyfriend, fucking break up with him and get with Daniel. Like, you obviously want to be together. Like, you're just being so fucking stupid right now.
That's the thing. I'm like, also, when they mentioned that they were gonna lace their fingers between each other, like we always do, y'all are holding hands on a regular? Y'all holding hands on a regular?
Well, you have a boyfriend?
Why is it? I'm being a little problematic, clearly.
Not the self-insert.
I'm being problematic. Jeez.
When you've read a YN fanfiction, do you insert yourself?
No.
I don't either. I like imagine.
I think it's someone else.
I mean, not that I regularly read this kind of stuff.
When I was younger, you can tell I haven't read fanfiction in a while based on how I'm like freaking out to what we're currently listening to, because it's been a while since I've dipped my toes into this realm, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I remember why I was addicted. This shit is good. Like, no, I would never imagine myself, because that'd just be weird. I don't know.
And why would I want to imagine myself? The whole reason is like it's fiction.
Yeah, so I'm like always thinking about someone else.
The reason that I liked fanfiction growing up is because a fun fact about me, I actually can't visualize things. I like.
Oh, you've mentioned this.
I think it's called like aphantasia or something.
Right.
And like you can't, like when I close my eyes, I can't like really imagine anything. So fanfiction is helpful because
they descriptive.
I already know what the person looks like. Like I don't have to imagine a new character. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like usually when I read a book, I have to like be like, okay, who am I gonna assign this character to? Because how am I supposed to imagine this person?
Right.
Anyways. All right, so that's everything.
We've definitely had to cut a lot out of this episode. Maybe if we have a Patreon and you pay for it, we'll put the real stuff.
I
Just
don't
kidding.
know. I don't even think you guys would want to pay for that. It's like so fucked up.
It's crazy to see how freaky some of y'all are and like where your minds go. And like I'm uncomfortable. Frankly, I'm a little uncomfortable after today. How can I watch Monaco tomorrow knowing what I've just read?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
So I'm gonna go read the Bible.
Wash my eyes out.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this segment, if you have fanfic you want to see us react to, please send it over to us and we'll definitely record it in our next part.
That is good. Yeah. If you guys have any fan fiction that you wrote,
send it over.
If you are okay with being subject to our opinions,
please don't send over anything
too kinky.
Nothing with like, you guys can figure out what type of tags we will not be reading. Yeah.
We actually have like no, like my head is so empty right now because I'm like traumatized.
That was actually terrible. Like
we kept.
I don't know. Was fanfiction always like this? Because I don't remember it being like this.
I think it was always like this.
Maybe I was on the cleaner side of fanfiction.
Did you read after?
I watched after, but I didn't read it.
No, the book is so bad.
Oh,
I read all 3 of them when I was younger.
When you were younger? Oh.
I can't believe I'm revealing this to the internet right now. I read all 3 of them when I was in like middle school. And there's this
fucking Trevor,
bro. First of all, like I mean like OG after. Like the names on the book were still Harry. And like all of his friends were like Niall, Louis, like everything.
Oh my
like,
god, yeah, because you were a big directioner.
Nah, yeah. Why would we? Don't put me on blast like that.
Sorry.
That's actually the only One Direction fanfiction I ever read, and it was like terrible. Anyways, I think we're getting a little bit too old for some fan fiction here.
I think that's what this today was. I think that I'm no longer in the demographic of what some of this fan fiction is for.
Hey. Really? Because you were enjoying that a little too much.
It's because I'm like in shock though. Like I feel like this isn't, I wouldn't write this. Like this isn't something I'd come up on by myself.
See, what we noticed from today's fan fiction is that it was either like actually vile.
Yeah.
Like I cannot read the words on this page. Or it was like actually kind of like literature. Like why was it kind of like good?
Like the Max one and the Daniel one and the Charles one, I actually really, really like. But all the other ones that we cut out, I'm actually very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you guys won't see which ones made us uncomfortable because I actually will not subject you to that and I will not be putting that in the video because like actually kind of messed up.
It's actually pretty bad. Like it's pretty fucked up. And like I love how they wouldn't tag certain things and then we keep reading and then something would come up and we're like, what the hell? In conclusion, I don't even know what to say. I can't.
It's kind of like disrespectful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
but we're also reading it. So
yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I think the second type of fan fiction wasn't really disrespectful because it's kind of like I feel like if some of the drivers read that, they're like, oh yeah, like it's kind of weird that it's about me, but it's like kind of like whatever. It's like nice.
But like some of the other stuff where you subject them to like
like why would you like try to paint the drivers in a bad light if you like them? I like don't get it.
I'm just so uncomfortable. I'm like in shock.
Like, okay, we're not gonna put this in the video, but there was like a Lando fic that was like very graphic, talking about like very mature things that are like bad. I don't even want to say that.
What's funny is that YN was literally an 04 too in that one.
Oh my god. It was actually bad. And then the other one was literally like a Fernando Alonso fanfiction. And like your brother was Sebastian Vettel and the way
the age gap,
first of all, the age gap was like 21 years. And second of all, Sebastian was like being a dick and like yell and like kind of like bad, toxic, like bad. I was like
the way it was writing, it was trying to make it seem like Sebastian, like Seb was the problem for not letting you date a 21-year-old man, and he was your brother, and like that's how it was depicting him. It was like, he doesn't support me, like he loves me, and it's like, bruh, a 21-year age gap. What? It was
anyways, that's everything for today. I don't want to speak.
I'm gonna seek help after this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go meditate. I'm gonna go wash my eyes. I'm gonna go shower. I'm about
to go shower.
It's actually like bad. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so sorry that you had to go through this with us.
Once again, let us know if you have any fanfic you want us to read, what you want us to call this segment. If there's any other small little goofy segments you would like us to try, definitely let us know. We're open to anything and everything, especially when there aren't races certain weeks. And thank you so much.
We will see you next week at the Monaco Grand Prix episode when we get into the nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty. Bye. That was crazy.
That was fucking traumatizing.